like the file that I'm going to make right now, but she didn't leave a good review on it, saying it was difficult to cut. So I want to go ahead and make that file right now and just see how it turns out. I responded to her message saying I appreciated how much she liked the file, but maybe she needed a new blade on her cutting machine, or maybe a new mat or something, or maybe it's the file. So I'm gonna test out my file and see how it turns out. So follow along. This is the C's with Nemo and Friends file that I'm gonna cut out. It's 6x3, and I already have my papers picked out. I'm just going to use scrap. So this is my colors that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use this pretty shimmer for the water bubbles, and then this multicolor distress white for the words with Nemo and Friends. And then I have a couple mats to work with just to keep the process going a little faster. So I already have this up in Cricut Design Space, so I'm just going to hit make it. I'm doing on mat for any material. And then I cleaned my mats before I started this process, just so that I had a clean slate to start with. And just to be safe, I'm even going to use some blue tape, just in case. I don't want anything moving around. This is a heavier cardstock with the shimmer on it. So you can see how I have it laid out. I'm choosing heavy cardstock. Okay, so this came out pretty good. I got a little zealous with my tape over here, but it'll just peel off because it's blue tape. But let me load up the next mat and I'll get that started. And then I'm going to change to medium cardstock, because this is just like 80-pound weight, whereas this was heavier. This is textured, and this is textured also. So that's why I went with a heavier cardstock setting. Okay, so this cut out really well too. Okay, this one is my fault. I should have lined it up over further. In fact, this is why I have this outline. You know where an 8.5 by 11 is going to fit, so that there's no the space that Cricut puts in there, and you end up wasting paper or whatever. So I'm a little short right here. That's my fault. That's my scrap. This one didn't cut so well, so I'm going to recut that piece. I'm even going to change my pressure to less, because I think it was just cutting through and ripping the paper. So that cut a lot nicer. I do think I'm going to go back and make an adjustment on this little seaweed stuff. And I'm going to join my pieces together so it cuts as one instead of these individual pieces. I think that'll help. Okay, so that actually cut out really well. They're small, a little tedious, but they cut out perfectly. So I'm going to leave them there so I don't lose anybody until I get to the gluing process. I like to be able to pop things up, so I'm going to use some foam squares and give this a little dimension for the little water bubbles. And then for the small ones, I'm just going to glue them down. Okay, so I know gluing on the with Nemo and Friends is going to be kind of a pain. So I'm just going to put a couple drops where the letters should be and then go from there. Okay, I think that looks really good, with the exception of where I misjudged the paper and it cut a little sharp right here. That came out really well. I don't know if you can see the shimmer of the water on here, but I've got the shimmer, I've got pop dots, and I've got each of the letters cut out and glued on. So the only thing I think I will go back and make an adjustment to is this grass or the seaweed, just so that it cuts as one piece and you don't have to fuss with that. But I'm going to take a picture and put this in my listing as an example of how well this does cut out. If you do want to not have to fuss with the little things, you can just make this bigger and each of the pieces will be easier to work with. So that's the C's with Nemo and Friends file that you can find on my TinksTreasurez shop on Etsy. And I also have a link, or I'll put a link in the description box below to another helpful tip that I have. Like, if you don't want to fuss with all of these little things, what I recommend doing is doing a layered print and cut. Which I also show an example of in each of my listings. But this is a print and cut. So what I did is I layered the bottom pieces, or I flattened the bottom pieces, sorry, so that they were just one image. And then I cut out the two bottom shadow layers separately. And then I also cut out Mickey separately. So like I flattened just Mickey, and then I used some foam dots to give it some dimension, and then I added a little bling here on the coin that he's flipping. So this was a lot faster and easier. You've got, you know, flatten this, flatten that, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts after you do, you know, your print, then cut. But there's just a total of 4 layers here, and that makes it go by super fast. You don't have to cut out the small pieces or glue on these small pieces. It, to me, it looks more professional. It has a, I use photo paper to do this, so it has a beautiful shiny text, or not texture, but feature to it. So I'll put a link in the description box below for, you know, like tips on how to do this, but that would just make it easier than worrying about gluing down all your little individual pieces. So thanks for watching. Please check out my my Etsy shop. It's TinksTreasurez with a Z. And then I'll see you next time in the next video. So happy scrapping.